if everything you think you know about Formula One right now becomes completely irrelevant in just a couple of years? Sounds crazy, right? Because today, it feels like Red Bull owns the sport. They're fast, consistent, and almost untouchable. But here's the twist. 2026 could wipe that advantage away overnight. And the team most people are underestimating right now, Mercedes, might be perfectly positioned to take over again. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Mercedes' 2026 F1 dominance isn't just a possibility, it could be the most likely outcome. The 2026 rule reset changes everything. Let's start with the biggest factor, the Formula One 2026 regulation changes. Every so often, Formula One hits a complete reset. New rules, new cars, new engines. And when that happens, the entire competitive order can flip. We saw it in 2014. We saw it again in 2022. And 2026? This might be the biggest reset yet. The new regulations completely redesign the power units. Less reliance on traditional combustion engines and way more focus on electrical energy. But here's where things get interesting. When rules change this much, it's not about who's winning today. It's about who understands tomorrow. And historically, Mercedes F1 has been one of the best teams at predicting what's coming next. Mercedes and the engine advantage. If there's one thing Mercedes has built its legacy on, it's engine dominance. Go back to 2014. When hybrid engines were introduced, Mercedes didn't just get it right, they got it perfect. They had a massive advantage. Not just a little faster, but on a completely different level. Other teams spent years trying to catch up. Now fast forward to the F1 engine regulations 2026. We're entering another major engine revolution. And once again, Mercedes is deeply involved in developing one of the most advanced power units on the grid. But here's what most people miss. This isn't just another engine change. It's a shift in philosophy. The electric era favors Mercedes. The 2026 power units will rely heavily on electrical energy, almost half of the total power output. That's a huge shift. And when you think about it, Mercedes isn't just an F1 team. It's one of the biggest automotive manufacturers in the world. They've been investing billions into electric vehicle technology. So while other teams are adapting to this electric-heavy future, Mercedes has already been living in it. But here's where it gets even more important. This shift isn't just about having power. It's about how efficiently you use it. Efficiency is the new performance. In the past, Formula One was all about raw speed. More horsepower, more dominance. But in 2026, efficiency becomes just as important, if not more. Think of it like this. Two cars might have the same amount of energy. But the one that uses it smarter will always win. And this is where Mercedes could have a huge edge. They've always been strong in race management, energy deployment, tire strategy, long-run pace. It's like the difference between a sprinter and a marathon runner. And Formula One in 2026? It's becoming more like a marathon. Toto Wolff's long-term strategy. Now let's talk about leadership. Toto Wolff isn't just focused on the present. He's always thinking several steps ahead. And this is where most people misunderstand Mercedes. They look at recent seasons and say, Mercedes has fallen behind. But what if that's only part of the story? What if Mercedes is intentionally shifting focus toward 2026? Because in Formula One, you can't dominate every era. Sometimes, the smartest move is to sacrifice short-term performance for long-term success. And Toto Wolff has proven before that he knows how to play the long game. Chassis development could be the hidden advantage. Now this next part might surprise you. It's not just about engines. The 2026 cars will also undergo major aerodynamic and design changes. Lighter cars. Different downforce concepts. improved racing dynamics. And here's where Mercedes' recent struggles might actually help them. When they struggled with the ground effect cars, they were forced to rethink everything. Design philosophy, aerodynamics, setup approach. And while that was painful at the time, it gave them valuable data. Because sometimes, the teams that struggle the most learn the most. And that knowledge could become a massive advantage when building a car from scratch for 2026. Mercedes versus Red Bull in 2026. Now let's talk about Mercedes versus Red Bull 2026. Right now, Red Bull looks unbeatable. But Formula One dominance is fragile. It depends heavily on the current rules. And when those rules change, everything changes. Red Bull has mastered the current era. But 2026 is a completely different challenge: new engines, new cars, new priorities. And historically, when big regulation changes happen, the dominant team doesn't always stay on top. So the real question is, who is better prepared for the future? The uncertainty factor. Here's something that makes 2026 so exciting. Nobody truly knows who will get it right. Not Mercedes. Not Red Bull. Not Ferrari. Every team is essentially starting from scratch. And that uncertainty is exactly what creates opportunity. Because when no one has the perfect answer, the team that prepares the smartest often comes out ahead. And if there's one thing Mercedes has consistently shown, it's their ability to prepare better than anyone else. Why Mercedes could dominate again? So let's put all the pieces together. New regulations reset the field. New engines favor electrical expertise. Efficiency becomes a key performance factor. Mercedes has deep experience in all of these areas. And most importantly, they've done it before. They've dominated an era. They've built championship-winning systems. They know what it takes to stay on top. And when the opportunity comes again, they'll be ready. So let's go back to that original question. Could Mercedes dominate the 2026 Formula One season? Now you can see why the answer isn't just yes, it might actually be very likely. Not because they're the fastest today, but because they might be building the strongest foundation for tomorrow. If this gave you a new perspective on Mercedes 2026 F1 and the future of the sport, then you'll definitely want to watch the next video where we break down which team could completely collapse under the 2026 regulations. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe, because we're just getting started.